Hey, everybody. It's Anne, the Stamp Maven here. I don't know about you, but I think we are all on sugar overload today. I went trick-or-treating with my youngest two grand cherubs, Landry and Lincoln. And Landry is going to be 3 tomorrow, so she's got this Halloween trick-or-treat candy deal down. I have to tell you one funny story. She had a little pumpkin basket, and then her mom and dad had like a big cloth sack so they could empty her little pumpkin into that when it got full. Well, they did that a couple of times, and then Landry happened to notice, everyone else's basket is full. So she started saying, I don't have any candy. And we had to go get mom and dad and have them open up the basket and see that she had plenty of candy. Her little almost 1-year-old sister rode around in the wagon. So she was pretty happy just staring around. She's a little young to actually ring doorbells, but I bet next year she'll be in the swing of things. I did post a few pictures of Landry and me, both as Minnie Mouse, here on my Facebook page. So hopefully you had a chance to check that out. Well, tonight I have a great project for you. We're going to be making a Christmas card that has a gift pocket inside of it. Now, even though I'm using Christmas paper, you could use this same project for any occasion that you would like. So I am going to flip my camera around and we are going to get started with our project tonight. And I want to say hello to everybody and thank you for popping in with me tonight. Hey, Carol, Marilyn, thanks so much for sharing this and everybody else that is here. All righty, so here is the project. Now, I'm going to just tell you a little bit about the supplies that I use. If you look real closely and you participated in Celebration this year, actually Celebration, you'll notice this is paper from Celebration. I am not one to waste stuff that I have, so I am using that paper. Of course, you can use any that you have. This paper right here is the black gingham sheet from our host pack, which is called Pattern Party. This is a wonderful pack of paper that you can get when you either have a party that is $150 or more, or you spend $150 or more. This pack, it has 48 sheets and it is just awesome. Then on the inside, here's where we would have our message and our pocket for our gift card. So I also used some more of that gingham paper to decorate our envelope, and I'll show you how I cut that in a little bit. All right, so let us get started. Let me leave this here so you can see it. Hey, Maria Rodriguez, this is a project I know you will like because you send a lot of cards. So I am starting with a piece of cherry cobbler cardstock. And this long side is 11 inches, and then this is 4¼ inches. And we are going to do just a little bit of scoring. We are going to score it at 1½ and then we are going to score it at 5½ Now, I use my Stampin' trimmer, and I also have a scoreboard from Stampin' Up. If for some reason you don't have those tools, you can easily measure it with a ruler and then score it down with a bone folder, or just fold it over at the 1.5 inch mark and then score it with your bone folder. If you don't have a bone folder, use a pencil. Hello, Pam Simmons. All right, so now that we have this, what we're going to do, we're going to fold in this piece right here where we scored at 1.5. That later will be our gift card pocket. Then we're going to score it at our 5.5 inch mark. So then this is what we will end up with. Now, I chose to do a little bit of layering. So I took a piece of black cardstock and I cut that at 3 3/4 by 4. And then I have a piece of my designer series paper that I cut at 3 5/8 by 3 7/8. So just 1/8 of an inch less. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down for you. And yes, you will notice I'm using my favorite green glue. And if you've been stamping with me for a while, you know the reason I like this green glue, because it lets you ooch in these sides if you get them not exactly even where you want them, where sometimes our Stampin' Seal, which I use a lot too, but sometimes that's a little harder to rip up. You can do it. Let's say I'd done this with Stampin' Seal. You just peel back the corner and then you start huffing all the way around. You pull it up and you won't rip your paper if you do it carefully. Now let's go ahead and put down this next layer with our multi-purpose glue, which is the technical name, not green glue. But hey, when I say green glue, you all know what it means, right? All right, so there is that first layer here on our black onto our card base. Next thing we're going to do is I have cut this inside piece right here, and that is cut at 1 1/4 by 4. And I'll put these measurements on the in the comments, and I will also have a blog post later in the week that will have all the measurements and also have the video. Of course, after we finish the live tonight, the replay will be available for you all as well. Okay, now this is my white piece that I showed you here. Now, I'm going to stamp this before I put it in there, and the reason is, if I do happen to make a mistake, which I'm hoping I will not, then I can flip it over and I have two sides, because you know Stampin' Up! Paper has two sides, right? Now, I am using this stamp set, the Perfectly Plaid, because it has a gingham tree right here that I want to use to coordinate with my black gingham paper. But I don't want to stamp it in black because that'll be a little too dark. And you'll see why when you see what I'm going to do. So I have got this. Let me take this off because we'll use that in a minute. I've got my tree there. I'm going to ink it up. And then I am just going to stamp off my scratch paper on my piercing mat so I have that cushion. You need, when you're stamping with photopolymer stamps, you need to have either the piercing mat, or you can also use a mouse pad or something thick to stamp. And the reason is there is no red rubber on this. So in order to get a good crisp image, you definitely want to have a little bit of a cushion. Okay, so there is my tree. Now, I'm going to bring back this Merry Christmas stamp that is also from the Perfectly Plaid stamp, and I'm going to use my grid paper to line this up. I don't know if anyone's ever showed you that trick, but if you do that, you will get it where it's even, and then you'll stamp straight. I'm going to get out my cherry cobbler ink. Then I'm going to just stamp it off here on my grid paper to make sure I've got it even, and I do. Then I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to stamp this right in the middle of that tree. Doesn't that look cool? So you've got the black and white tree that matches your black and white gingham. Okay, let's close these up because we don't want to get my hand in there, which I surely will do if I don't close it up. Now I'm just going to take this and get my glue on here again. And you only need to just go around the sides. You can put a little dab in the center for extra sticking power. Then I'm just going to line this up right here. And as you see, there is plenty of room for me to write in here as well. Where the glue kind of came out just a little bit, and I took it off with my finger, this glue dries clear, so you don't need to worry about that. Okay, now I've cut a piece of the same designer series paper, the same size as this, which was 1 1/4 by 4. So I'm going to adhere this, and you could use this side of this paper. That looks cool too. But I kind of want it to match the front. So here we go. I'm going to stick down these trees right here. Then I'm going to take my 1 1/4 inch circle punch. Now, if you have a 1 inch punch, a 1/2 inch punch, whatever you have will work. You want to open up this flap, and then you just want to punch about equal distance, the top and the bottom. Just go ahead and punch out a little notch like that. I'll show you why here in just a sec. Now, we need to seal down the top and the bottom for the pocket. You don't want to put adhesive right here because then your gift card won't fit in there. I recommend either using our tear and tape adhesive, this green glue, or the Stampin' Seal Plus. Reason being, you do not want it to open up. You want it to stay in there. And you want to get the glue or whatever adhesive you use very close to the edges. Now, I brought in my silicone mat, which is one of my favorite tools, because if I had glue that would come out, it would go on this mat, kind of like right there it did, but then you just wipe it off. It doesn't stick. So then just give it a good press with your thumbs or your bone folder. Then let's borrow this gift card. You slip it right in there, and you've got this cool little notch that just lets them get that out easily. Okay, are you with me so far? All right. Well, hey, Denise, just saw you pop in, wanted to say hi. And if I missed anybody, hi, 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 hi. I love it when you guys join me live. Okay, now we've got, we want to start embellishing the front. Now I want to show you what I used is this cool punch, which is called, let me look, I think it is called the Evergreen. Oh, I've got it right here. Yes, the Evergreen Border Punch. It's on page 147 in the annual catalog. It's actually part of a bundle. You get the Evergreen Elegant Stamp Set and the punch, and you save 10%. So what I'm going to do is I want to just trim off a piece of paper here so I can show you the punch. So I'm going to punch this side. Okay. And then look here. I've got these trees right here. And if I needed more, I can just go back in on the other side of my paper. And then I've got 8 trees to use. But look here. You see this negative part that punched out right here? Those also have trees. They look a little different than these trees, but they're still trees nonetheless. So I call that a twofer punch. 2 for the price of 1. So then, first, before we put on these little trees, we've got our gingham ribbon, which matches our gingham paper. Now, I accidentally was talking and I glued that down. So I'm going to show you what we would do to fix that. Because if you did that and you think, I want to put my ribbon on there. Normally, I would run it around the back of that black layer and tie it. But since I got it off of there before I did that, I'm just going to take that ribbon and I'm going to cut it so it fits right across the top like that. Then I'm going to take another little piece. I'm going to leave it on the spool, and I am going to, if I can get my fingers to work right, I am going to make a little faux bow. So I'm going to go around here, and then I'm going to just tie, get my end here, right here. Okay. Then it came out, so not a worry. We're going to stick it right back in here and tell it to behave itself. Did I get it? Yeah, come on. The best laid plans, right? But it is going to work, I promise. Once I get my big fat fingers out of the way. All right, come on, scoot on through there. There. You know what? We're going to start over here because I want to show you why I don't cut it right off the spool. And if I can get that to work here, I also have a little bit of glue on my fingers, which does not help. All right, come on, poke on through there. There we go. Okay, now, when you do that, and you just pull on this left side, and you leave this right side flat, then look at that knot that you get. It just makes a beautiful knot. Then all you have to do is trim this end the length you want it, and you don't have a lot of waste there. Then you can also move your bow to wherever you want it on your card, and then maybe just trim off this little bit. Now then, you can just take your glue or your adhesive and dot some of that on there, and you can put down your ribbon wherever you want it. And then you can still move your little knot to be where you want it to be. Then we'll just let that dry. Scoot it over here. There. And there's the perfect bow. And you won't see the glue because it dries clear. Okay, now what I did was I've got 3 trees, and I left them all together, and I'm going to just put them down on my card, and I'm going to do it flat because chances are I'm going to mail these, and I don't want to add a lot of extra weight to that. Then I'm going to want one more tree, and it can be whatever size you want it to be. So I'm just going to trim it there, and I'm going to trim it there. Now for this one, I do want to use a little dimensional, just one. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it on the back here. Then we're just going to stick it, and it's sticking out just a little bit. So let's move it so you don't see it. There we go. All right, then I'm going to put the trees. Now, of course, I need to add my bling. What would it be without bling? And let me show you this trick if you haven't seen a video before. You know how there is the back of the envelope that has the sticky on it, and then you need to move the rhinestones? Well, my downline, Louise, showed me this little tip a long time ago, probably a couple of years ago, and I can't believe I'd never seen that before. So you cut off the sides, and then when you need your rhinestone, all you do is you just pull it out like that, and you don't have to fuss with all the glue sticking on the wrong place. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take our rhinestone, and I put 3. If you want to put more, you can certainly put more. An artist that I used to take classes from, she actually told me that to make it more pleasing to the eye, you want to do a odd number. So either 3, 5, 7. So if you like a ton of bling, well, just bling it on up all over. So I may add another one here, and let's go for broke here. Let's add, man, these little guys are sticking to my hands. Let's just put, not there, because that's where I'm going to put the greeting. Okay, so then what I did, I used my layering circles dies to create my sentiment piece. The white, I used this size right here, and then for the black, I used this scallop right here. But what you notice is I didn't want a huge bunch of black to show. I wanted just a little layer. So what I did was chose one that would just have a barely bit of the black showing. Can you see that right there? It's just a little bit. And then I do want to stick this part up because I like popping up the sentiment pieces. I just think that adds a little bit of dimension. But again, mailing it, depending how many dimensionals and things you use, it can add a cost to that. But there's our card. Isn't that just easy peasy? And imagine a birthday card, a wedding card with wedding paper, just about anything. Now, let me show you what I did on the envelope. I just took my paper here and I lined it up against the flat edge with my fold of my envelope. I traced around it and then I just cut it off. Okay, and then I put it on my envelope. And it looks here that I just, it went out there just a little bit. So I'll just trim that off. You could even leave it. It's no big deal, but I want that to just be perfect. So there we go. And we've got that piece. What do you think? Was that just beautiful and easy? Now, the last thing I want to tell you guys about is tomorrow is November 2nd. In addition to being my granddaughter's birthday, she's turning 3, it is the day that customers can start ordering our beautiful Eden's Garden suite. Now, let me just quickly run through and show you these. There is a stamp set, the Eden's Garden stamp set, and it's got all of these leaves and sentiments in there. There are dies, the leaf here, and then some border dies, sentiment, and then a couple of frame dies. Then there is designer series paper. You saw me make this card last week. So there's all these beautiful pieces of designer series paper. And then you can cut out using the gold foil. There's also this beautiful cotton paper that you can embellish. So, of course, you can get all of these things separate, or you can buy them in the collection. Now, the stamp set and the dies will be available in the next mini, which goes from January to June. But the papers, and then there are some embellishments that are there, and I don't have those right in front of me. But those are only while supplies last. So I've already gotten some of my customers, excuse me, that have emailed me to go ahead and order for them, because we always sell out of these limited edition things, and I don't want you guys to miss out. I'm flipping this camera around real quickly so I can say goodnight before we sign off. But I encourage you, if you want it all, just order the collection number and you can get it at my annbrown.stampinup.net, and it will give you the ordering numbers. The great thing about doing the collection, you still get the bundle price for the stamp set and the dies, and it also includes the paper and the embellishments. And all you have to do is enter one little number. But if you just want to pick and choose, or maybe you just want the paper, that's cool too. But if it is the paper, I recommend that you go ahead and get it before it sells out. Alrighty, well, I will put those measurements on the blog, and as soon as we sign off here, the video will post, and watch for it on YouTube later in the week. Thanks so much, guys. I love spending time with you. Bye-bye.